here to learn.
You will.
I hate puppies.
Good podcast.
Yeah. I feel threatened.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Inside the Pallet House, the only podcast dedicated to solving first world problems and hopefully helping you figure out what beer you should be drinking this weekend. On a Memorial Day weekend, depending on when this comes out, you may have already had your Memorial Day weekend because I have been slacking considerably on putting these podcasts out. I don't know if anybody's noticed. I haven't heard any complaints. Not a good sign.
I mean, it happens.
I mean, this last one made it out on Sunday at like 10 o'clock at night. But it was still technically on the weekend.
We're busy.
Extremely.
Yes.
And I've realized that I don't get paid enough to bust my ass. I get it done.
Yeah.
That's about all you can do.
We don't get paid.
I don't believe we do. And if we do, then I have a whole boatload of checks, 8 years worth, just piled up somewhere that no one's been giving me.
Does our guest know we're not paying him?
I believe he knows that.
Okay, good.
No, we did not discuss this.
Oh, God. Well, I'm excited because we have a fan favorite back tonight.
We do, and it has been a couple years.
Yeah. Well, he makes them wait.
That's right. That's exactly the move.
He comes on and he takes a couple years off.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I think he's got stories to regale us with. Hopefully better than his episodes in France. He came back with some interesting situations in France. But we got my dad.
Yeah.
Here.
Hey, good to be here.
Very excited to have you back in the Pallet House.
Oh, man, it's been a long 2 years.
I know.
Without
know.
you guys.
There will be a percentage of the population that gets super amped up as soon as they just heard your voice. They're like, yes. Because we get
so good in your ears.
We get requests for you to be on the show more often than you would realize.
You should be flattered.
Wow. You really? Yeah?
I'm not kidding.
Man.
I'm not just blowing smoke.
You are slinging it. No, but that's good to hear. I'll take
when
it.
I said fan
I'll
favorite,
take it.
That's a fact.
No, he absolutely is a fan favorite. Your stories have always been funny and insightful, which is a difficult thing to do.
To me, that's the whipped cream on top. I could listen to your dad just speak. Like he could read a phone book, and I just love hearing his voice in my ears. Like it's just butter.
Are you giving up the audio dreamboat moniker?
I mean, I can't because I'm here every week, so I'm gonna hold to it. But while he's here, he is definitely. My voice. I'm hoping my voice when it grows up will be as smooth and silky as your dad's.
Oh man,
I need to get one of those stogies he was puffing on before we started this thing.
Dude, I walked out here. I had gone to get a deli. And I come walking in, and I smell cigar smoke. And he was like, this is my first cigar I've had since, like, May, which it is May.
No, it's been over a year since I've had a cigar.
Oh, wow.
So it tasted good.
I bet it did.
You know, there's an old Indian saying, follow cigar smoke, find fat man there.
Okay.
Yeah, I like it.
So you just followed the smoke.
So you didn't... overseas when you just got back on a long trip from Ireland. No stogies over there? Do they have good stogies over there? Like,
oh sure, and they have those good Peterson pipes. Like
I've got one of those here.
Guys. Oh, and they smoke a lot of cigs over there too. They're not bashful about. No, you see a lot of people. You can't smoke them in the pubs. I mean, they've gotten all politically correct. But you just walk out on the sidewalk, and there are all kinds of people walking around with cigs, which is kind of refreshing,
I'm not a cigarette smoker, but they've never bothered me. Like, if that's what you want to do, man, that's your vice. Knock yourself out. Like,
no, I mean,
I do appreciate, like, not having to go to, like, a mom and pop, pizza place and have smokers sit with me, but, like, I've never even minded like at clubs and bars late night. Like if you're out drinking alcohol past 10 o'clock,
you've already committed.
You're like you're saying I'm here for a good time. So if you want to smoke your cigarettes, be cool with
my
it.
wife would not agree with you. And the funny thing is, she was a smoker for many years.
Yeah,
and then as soon as she quit, she was like, "Ugh, disgusting! No one should smoke."
But isn't that what most humans or Americans, I should say, that's their take on everything, right? Like if I don't like it, no one else should like
you
it.
can't have it.
Exactly.
But that's not how I smoked for years, and now I'm still like pro smokers' rights.
Yeah.
Like, go ahead, smoke.
Absolutely.
Like,
Now, I don't understand it. I do think it's a really bad.
It's bad for you, but that's your choice.
That's
you know,
your choice. Yeah.
When I
bad
was
for you.
younger, my idea of a bar was a place where you smelled cigarette smoke, whiskey, and puke.
Exactly. Yes.
And if you go to New Orleans, you can throw pee in the mix.
And you smelled piss.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you knew that was a bar. I mean, if you were in Denny's, you didn't smell that stuff. If you were in a bar, you smelled
Exactly.
that stuff.
And in reality, like we know people who die of cancer who've never smoked, and we know smokers that live to 100. So a lot of it's just the genetic card you're dealt.
I think more often than not, genetics plays into it. Now, smoking doesn't help.
Yes.
Never will.
No, it's not gonna prolong your life.
It's bad for you.
Yes.
We'll all agree it's bad for you.
So is alcohol. So is eating
alcohol.
tasty
So
food.
is fried food.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm not gonna protest against fried chicken.
Yeah.
Feel like you should be allowed to have fried chicken. I don't know. I'm a big smokers' right guy, so I'm kind of glad to hear that Ireland's still holding the candle. I noticed that when I was in Italy, they were.
Yeah,
So
they
is
don't
that just
care.
a European thing? They just
That's
still smoke?
also true in Italy, and I think that's a European thing. They aren't as puritanical about things as we are. It's sort of live and let live.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you see a lot of people with cigarettes. Nobody cares. You don't take them inside. They've gotten to that point, but you can take a dog inside. That's the funny thing.
That's ridiculous.
If you're in a restaurant, bring your dog, not your cigarette.
I don't I'm anti dogs in places because there are a lot of people that are allergic to animals, and then the rest of us just don't want dog hair and dander floating around in their food.
There's people allergic to cigarette smoke.
Yeah, but
Yeah, there are.
I would probably say there's more people allergic to dogs and cats.
I'd be willing to agree with that.
I mean, look, they've been talking about, and Mr. Kennedy can talk on this, like, they've been talking about, like, being allergic to cigarette smoke and secondhand smoke killing people, but what is the real data on that? No one knows anyone who's died of secondhand smoke. Like, that's just a made-up, like, thing they scared you into thinking, when in reality, you don't die of secondhand smoke.
No, but I'm sure they can. I'm sure there has to be some
Again,
empirical data on
it's
that,
not
right?
good for you, but it's not your
I think actually you're
secondhand smoke is like you're not breathing in the cigarette. You're breathing in smoke that's been filtered with clean air. So it's not like
I don't
If secondhand smoke killed people, everyone Brendan's age, my age, and
I
younger
don't know. I grew
would
up-
probably die.
we'd all be dead.
Yeah, we'd all be dead.
I grew up in a haze of smoke, and Brendan, you grew up with me puffing on a pipe all the time.
oh,
Yeah, it didn't bother me.
I grew up. My mother was a notorious smoker. Smoked in the car, smoked in the house, smoked everywhere. I started smoking at 16. Like I would be dead.
Yeah,
I bought my mom cigarettes when I was like 5 years old. She'd send us into the store with $2 in cash.
Same thing with me.
Yeah.
First time the guy at the store refused to sell me cigarettes, my mother was so pissed she marched me right back down there. I was like 11 years old. She
She's
said,
like,
"What the hell?
he's cool.
Isn't my money good?"
Yeah, we come home from the neighbor's pool or something out in the country, and we'd stop in a little corner store, and they knew me, and she'd say, "Tell them your mom wants, Virginia Slim ultralights," and if they say anything, point out to the car. They'd look, and she'd be like, "Hey."
So when you were 16 and started smoking, was it Virginia Slim Ultralights? So you could be
it
like,
was not.
I'm getting them from...
No.
It was not. Yeah.
That's the move, right? Be
Yeah.
like, hey, Bob, just some
Or my
Virginia
mom.
Slims. Yeah,
And plus, they're cool looking, right?
kind of. For like Cruella DeVille. It's kind of a weird look.
No, her grandfather, my great grandfather, retired from Philip Morris, and even in retirement, he got 2 cartons a month. Like, so he would he had stopped smoking years ago, so he would get Virginia Slim Ultralights, and she got 2 cartons a month for free from Philip Morris.
What a great retirement benefit.
Yeah.
Isn't that the best?
Give you 2 cartons of smokes a month.
Yeah.
So we don't have to pay that.
We
Yeah.
won't.
We
You're
want
not
you
going
to
to have
die
to pay.
sooner.
You're not going to have to pay health benefits or retirement too long for that guy.
Exactly right. Be like, he's got a pension. Keep the smokes
That's
going.
right. Yeah.
That's non-transferable.
Absolutely.
We're dabbling in heroin, sir. Would you like to jump in?
You want to trade out one of those cartons for some heroin? Extra fentanyl.
Yeah,
That's brutal.
pretty smart. But again, I'm all for, things like that. That's your call, man. That's your call.
It's your call.
Yeah, I've never had an issue with it. If what you're doing doesn't bother me, then I'm okay with it.
Now, when they did start doing the marketing to kids, that's a little below the belt.
I mean, I definitely wanted Camel wide lights more than any other cigarette because those big fat Camels, like Joe Camel
was cool.
Joe Camel was great for kids. Like, I get it. Like, I was in. But when I saw the fat Camel show up and they were shooting pool and stuff, I was like, now that's my crew.
Yeah.
That's who I want to be with. There is no denying that 13-year-old me was like, I got to get my hands on some Camel wide lights. Like, that was the coolest thing. And if you could get them, you were so cool at a camping trip when you show up and be like, boom, Camel wide
But that's what, the soda companies do, and that's not healthy either.
No, soda's just as bad.
Yeah.
And those sugary cereals they push at kids all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we may as well just give them cigarettes and shredded
thing.
wheat. Save their lives. I'm looking out for you, kid.
I am surprised that pipe smoking fell off because I've always thought pipe smoking was just really cool.
It is.
And it smells amazing.
It's absolutely the best way to smoke because you hit it while you want to, and then you stop when you don't. You pick it back up when you want to. Like a cigar, you're forced to just sit there for 30 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Or an hour.
A cigarette, you got to go through it, and then you might have to have another one because other people are pipe.
And I feel like
Leisurely.
most pipe smoke smells appeasing, even if you're not a cigarette or cigar smoker, where I can understand people going, ugh, cigarette smoke, not a fan. Or even most cigars, like they can be a little aggressive, where a nice pipe just smells
Beautiful.
Smells great.
That's the trick with backwoods. That's what backwoods figured out by putting pipe tobacco in the little cigar.
Yeah.
Smells great. Like no one objects. You get in someone's car and it reeks of backwoods. You're like, that's cool.
That is the only problem I had with cigarette smoke when I was going out at night. Like
Coming home,
it never bothered me while I was there, and then you walk back into your house and you're like, oh my God, I smell like a Philip Morris plant.
But a pipe, it's a ritual. So
Yes.
if you're trying to focus on what you're doing,
Exactly.
you're working on something, you got the pipe, and it'll keep you busy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Put the tobacco in there, man, and okay, let's light the match, let's draw it in, puff, 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 goes out.
Yeah.
So you get the little pipe tool and you tamp it down.
Yeah,
You're
little
thinking
tamper.
about what you're working on, tamp, 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 light it up again, puff it again. Oh, I'm getting some juice through there. Got to get a pipe cleaner out.
Yeah.
It keeps
It's
you
work.
busy.
You got to change the filter in it, like
Keeps you busy.
you're right. Like a cigarette, like in part of the 2 years I really smoked regularly in high school that was a ritual. I got in my car and drove the 20 minutes to my girlfriend's house. Every time I got in the car, I lit a cigarette up.
Absolutely.
It was just like turn the key. It was all part of putting the seatbelt on, turn the key, light a cigarette, turn the radio up. Like it was just part of the driving experience.
Safety first.
Exactly.
Seatbelt on, check the mirrors, light a cigarette.
But you can't
I'm
do
safe.
that with a cigar, really. And you definitely can't do it with a pipe.
No.
No, that's how it was convenient. It was
Yeah.
just too convenient. Whereas I like the pipe. It's effort.
Yeah.
You are fully committed to smoking this pipe.
Yeah.
Like, you got to get it done.
We need to start smoking pipes.
I'm down. I got
Yeah.
like 3 pipes right over there. And the worst
I
part
don't even know
about-
where to go buy pipe stuff. I used to buy it at like CVS and Walgreens and stuff. I don't think they sell that stuff anymore. You could buy bags of pipe tobacco and you could buy a $10 pipe
Sure.
and
you get that Captain Black, the cheap shit.
yeah.
So
keep-
good.
So some places keep it behind the counter, but there's a Rexall up in Vienna, Virginia that has it right out there at the counter, all the pipe tobacco, all the cigars. You just grab it, give it to the guy.
I would guess I'd have to go to a cigar shop. And,
Yeah, a
and-
cigar store.
Yeah.
The good news is that
Tobacco
Pay
shop.
10 times more. for
every
it.
corner has a vape shop now.
Do they sell that stuff?
The ones that sell the other stuff. So if it's strictly vape, which that has kind of fallen out of favor. So now they have to like supplement with other things. And so they've got all the CBD bullshit, but then they have all the pipe tobacco, and then they always have a little humidor now for the most part. And so you can get
So
pipe
everything
tobacco.
but cigarettes at a vape store now?
Well, the vape stores are a little different, but I'm saying as that came in, because now they're all head shops.
Yeah.
And the head shops usually carry some amount of that stuff too.
Oh, really?
If they're any good. If it says tobacco in the name, it always does.
Yeah.
But you can tell the more neon signs up there, the more likely it has.
Speaking of head shops, they were everywhere up in D.C.
Well, that's because it's legal,
Yeah.
air quotes.
Yeah.
You know, you can't buy it, but you can be gifted it all day.
Dude, you can buy it. You can buy it there.
But I thought you had to be gifted it.
No.
That was always my understanding. You can grow.
I saw people go in there and purchase it.
Yes, because it's a donation.
It wasn't sold as such. There was no.
That was the loophole years ago.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's still the case, but it used to be you'd go in there and they'd be like, oh, this is a $50 donation. This is a $60 donation. And that was just how they did it. It was just a loophole. The first ones to really pioneer it were all of the kids at Gallaudet University, which is like the deaf university there. They picked up on it right away, and they would go around on bikes and sell you art. And it would be like the same photocopied piece of art, and you'd be like, I'll pay you $50 for this piece of art.
For that Picasso?
Yeah, and they'd give you like a photocopied postcard, and then be like, and as a free gift, we'd love to give you this bag of weed.
Because I like you.
Yeah, because you're cool.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, those kids tried to corner the market, but it got figured out real quick.
Do we ever talk about that documentary about that school?
Gallaudet?
Yeah.
I don't think we've talked about it here.
It was awesome.
I don't know if I've ever seen it. Is it about football?
It's about it's about they're obviously they have a football team, but they basically they're just following the deaf kids around and just kind of like real worlding it, right? Like, and it was so interesting because like
Would they do subtitles like as they were signing?
some of them can speak, some of them can't, but yeah, they would do subtitles.
That's kind of
But it was so interesting to me because it was so telling because like, you know, they start the show and it's like 300 kids go to the school that are hearing impaired, and they started interviewing. They did one-on-one sit down, you know, look at the camera, and they're like talking to the kids, and there's like subsets of the deaf community where like, oh, you can still hear, so you're not on our level, or your parents aren't deaf, so you're not on our level. Like, and it just was the
different cliques.
Yes, and but it was like a class system. Like certain ones look down on others.
So would the top class be like, my parents were deaf, I'm deaf, fully deaf.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I can only sign,
Yes.
I can't speak at all.
Yeah.
That's like the number one.
If I remember
top of
correct,
the food chain.
yeah, if I remember correctly. But I was sitting there watching it with the wife, and I just couldn't help but think, there's 300 of you that all share a very common, rare, you know, disability.
Yeah.
But they were Zen fighting, and I was like,
But isn't that the human condition?
That's how people are.
That's my point, right?
Like they choose up sides wherever they are.
real quick.
we want the world to just all hold hands and do one group hug around the entire world at the same time.
Yeah.
But yet in this one deaf school with 300 kids,
You still can't get
there's
that.
infighting.
Yeah.
Like, okay, but yeah, let's get the whole world to hug each other at the same time. That's going to go over. It was just.
It is quite refreshing to know that we're all pieces of shit.
Well, I'm not saying. I'm not even judging that they're right or wrong, because who knows how it is. You know,
That's what we do.
But that
Yeah.
is what we do.
We all have to
Yeah.
look down on somebody, it seems.
If we all looked exactly the same, it'd be like, oh, sandals, nice choice.
Yeah.
You're out. Like, I don't hang open-toed shoes, people are
Yeah.
not my thing. Like, that's just how we are.
But I mean, I can imagine being fully deaf, and you know,
Yeah, because you have advantages. Your parents could speak and they
Yeah,
could hear.
exactly.
So, like, you had an
Exactly.
easier upbringing than
Yeah.
we did.
or you have partial hearing, so you don't miss as much as I do.
Yeah.
You know.
You couldn't possibly understand what I'm going.
Exactly. And that's the narcissist in all of us. We all think like that on some level. It's just certain people are better at picking up on like their own narcissism and working on it and being aware of it, where most people are just like me.
Yeah. Whatever I've been through is the
Yeah.
hardest thing. Well, it's just like what I'm going through. you couldn't possibly understand. Because
Exactly,
what I'm
yeah.
going through is the most difficult. But the reality is everybody you're in a room with is going through some shit.
Yeah. I have a family member that is very well off, and they will complain about certain things that to other people sound trivial, but I always defend that person because I'm like, that's their problems. Their problems are their problems.
Yeah, and
It's not us. It's not for us to judge their problems.
it's just as real.
It's a problem.
You know?
Problems are problems.
That person was smoking cigarettes on my yacht.
Yeah.
You know, like, yep, that's a problem. So I'm excited to have my dad here because he did something that I think is what everybody dreams of, and he and my mom had the balls to actually do it, which is just say, screw it, I'm going to go live in another country for months. Like, as long as they will allow me to be here, I'm going to take advantage of that opportunity and I'm going to do it. So to give a little backstory, I think we may have talked about this a little bit on the air, but you guys sold your house,
Right?
and when you moved out of your house, you didn't have anywhere to go. You sold the house because the market was at the kind of the zenith. Like it was coming down.
It was coming down. But yeah, we got rid of the house, and
And this is Brendan's childhood home,
didn't,
right?
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, as much as Brendan had a childhood home, because y'all moved around.
Well, from
Well,
Chicago to Arizona, but this was
Chicago,
my Virginia
Arizona
home.
to,
Yeah.
to Virginia. And we moved there when you were like 14 or something, and
10 years ago,
grew
huh?
up there. Yeah, 10 years ago.
Yeah. 10 years ago.
Very short time ago. So we sold the house, and we stayed with some friends, and then what was it? It was and we went down to hang with my sister in Florida for a while.
Yep.
And then
What part of Florida were y'all in?
it's Lakeland, which is like
Beautiful Lakeland.
midway between Tampa and Orlando.
Okay.
Like in the middle of the state.
Between Bumble and Fuck.
Ah,
No, it's Cluster and Fuck, actually.
I get those. I get those.
that's
flipped.
what most of
Get
Florida
those
is.
flipped.
Everybody thinks
Yeah.
it's Tampa and
Oh,
Miami
man,
and
most
Daytona.
of it's out in the weeds, you know.
no.
It's farmland. A lot of nothing.
Cattle country.
Yep.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. So we rented this house in Ireland for 90 days because that's all they'll let you stay for
Yeah.
if you're a tourist. So if you come over there with a job or you're going to school, you can stay longer. But otherwise, 90 days. I even called the embassy, here, the Irish embassy.
Yeah.
And I said, how can I stay longer than 90 days? And they said, well, would you like to be a citizen?
Yes.
I said, well, that seems extreme, They said, well, if one of your grandparents is from here. And I said, well, I think they are. I said, well, if you can prove it, you can be a citizen. And I said, well, that seems like a lot, just
Yeah.
to stay over 90 days.
There's no in between a visit and all out citizenship.
And being
Like,
a citizen.
You know,
no,
the crazy
I mean,
shit, I have a 6th grade family tree that will clearly show that your grandparents are from Ireland.
yeah, my teacher gave me a B+ on the damn thing. So
There you go.
there you go.
So we know it's true.
So we took the 90 days. We flew over there, and
I'm waiting. I'm from America. Let's just go with it. There's some Irish, some Scottish. Like we're probably covered.
yeah,
We're also a little bit Canadian.
Yeah.
well,
You wanna
a
get
little
down to
bit.
it? Yes. Yes. Backed it up.
That's right. But so I'm a Kennedy, so that doesn't count for much. There are Kennedys all over the place.
Yeah.
Well, we were in this little town, and there was a Kennedy the butcher, a Kennedy the realtor, there was Kennedy's pub,
Nice.
and there was Tom Kennedy, who owned this enormous trawler, this enormous $7 million fishing boat with the Kennedy crest. With the Kennedy
nice.
coat of arms on the front. So Kennedys, they aren't that rare over there at all.
So the embassy just didn't let you in on that merit? I mean, it sounds
I
legit.
told you I'm a Kennedy.
Just being, I said, what? I'm Kennedy, damn
Yeah.
it. You should make me president or
That's right.
prime minister, whatever
Yeah.
you call it. So we went to this place. I'm not sure how we picked it, but it's on the southwest. And there's this peninsula. It's called the Dingle Peninsula, and it's like a dagger pointed at Boston. It's the westernmost point in Ireland. It's way out there on the North Atlantic. Well, we had this house, and it looks over on this cliff, and there's the North Atlantic, and it's winter, and the wind is blowing constantly.
Ooh.
But it's so dramatic. It's great, really. There's wind, there's rain, and at one point we went to this beach at the northern end of Dingle Peninsula. And they filmed part of one of the Star Wars movies there. They have a little sign.
Because it's that like
'Cause it's
remote
like
and desolate
bad.
looking.
Like it looks like another planet, you know.
We could make up a whole nother planet. Yeah, but where will we shoot it?
Dingle,
Dingle
Ireland.
Peninsula looks
Yeah.
pretty desolate.
I was walking toward the west. I wanted to get down to the beach, and the wind was so strong, I realized that the best I can do is not get pushed backwards. I'm not going to walk.
You weren't advancing.
No, I was not gaining any yardage.
Just net zero. But calories are burning.
I could not.
You're like,
yeah.
Mr. Kennedy had
Bracing
47
myself.
carries on the day and got 0 yards.
Yeah.
0 yards,
Says
no
I-
gain.
It says I
Yeah.
took 10,000 steps and I'm still here.
No gain for Kennedy. No. It was nuts, but it was really great because it was not tourist season yet, but places were open where the locals went. So you could go find music and you could find really good food. And we got to know everybody. We knew the checkout ladies in the local supermarket, and
Perfect.
we knew. And my big dream was, maybe if I'm there long enough, they'll let me. Can I get a beer?
What is that?
It's
then,
a
Troy?
brew beer. Do you care if I drink it?
Oh no, of course
Can I
not.
get one of
Okay.
these?
Yes, sir.
So my big dream was, I wonder if they'll let me sing a song and play guitar in a pub, because I thought that'd be great.
I mean, I think that's a lot of people's dreams when we fantasize about what Ireland is.
Yeah.
We always fantasize about the pub where everyone gets together and then they just kind of join together and they have a ceilidh. Or I believe it's the crack,
Ceilidh. The
right?
crack is good.
The
It's
crack?
a ceilidh. The crack is good, which sounds bad. It's not crack cocaine. It's fun.
Yeah,
it's
it's
Gaelic
just-
for fun. Oh, and this part of Ireland, they speak Irish. They speak Gaelic.
Truly Gaelic.
You would walk through the store and you'd hear people talking fluently in Irish and Gaelic.
What a disgusting language that is.
But,
I mean,
anyhow,
there's nothing romantic about.
no, it's
about
a great.
Gaelic.
But anyhow, I thought
Gaelic isn't a romance language.
It is not.
And I was looking at a poster for Kennedy's Pub, and they said, open mic night, call so-and-so. And I thought, yeah, maybe I can call that number. And if I really sweet talk them, maybe they'll let me come into open mic night. So this is in my mind. So the first pub we go to, there's a band. And they sing this Springsteen song, The River. The guy has the harmonica. He's amazing. So I walk up between sets, and I said, hey, that was really good. And he says, do you sing?
Just assumed. Okay.
And I said, not on a stage. He said, well, come on up, give us a song. Wow, that was hard. So I said, oh man, I don't know. This makes me nervous. You put me on the spot. I'll go back and get another drink and I'll think about it. I go in the back room where we're all sitting and I get another Guinness.
You trying to get some liquid courage going?
Absolutely,
there?
I was.
With confidence.
Absolutely, I was. So I decided, no, I'm not going to do that. But I went up to the bar to get another drink, and the guy says, here he is. We're going to get a song from Charlie Kennedy.
Nice.
Oh God!
Put you on the spot.
It was my first pub in the island. So I said, okay, I can't. I stepped up, but I thought I've still got a couple cards to play to get out of this. So I said, this song I'm going to sing, I need a capo. He says, here it is. It needs to be on the 6th fret. Here it is.
Oh, so you're playing and singing.
Oh, yeah.
You're not just
God.
singing. You've upped the ante.
Well, they told me to come up and play and sing.
Nice.
They just assume, that if you like music,
You spoke to me. Come on
Yeah.
up.
yeah, you must be a singer, So
I love music, and I love
had
telling
this-
people that I enjoy their
Yeah.
voice or their talent. I'm
Yeah.
like, man, you're shredding that guitar.
Yeah.
I can do zero of it.
Yeah.
So why
It's a
did
nice
they
drum
think?
solo. Good,
Yeah.
you're in.
Why did they think I could play and sing a song? Why
you
would
look
they,
like a
why would you-
singer-songwriter.
Oh,
That's what it is.
Do
that
have the
must
look.
be it. Okay. So anyhow, I get up there and he slings this beautiful Gibson guitar over me, and he's got it all hooked up to an amp, and he's got his buddy on keyboards. So I sang a song. And
Do we get to know what song it was?
it's called Spanish Pipe Dream by John Pride. And
Okay.
it's about a stripper and a guy who goes into a bar and he ends up marrying her.
This is,
and-
That sounds
Irish
like a great.
music.
Yeah, it's a great pub
No,
song.
I thought Well, I told him I was going to sing Star of the County Down, which is Irish, but I thought, no, this Spanish pipe dream's more fun because they were singing American songs too. They really sing everything over there. So I sang, and she was a level-headed dancer on the road to alcohol, and I was just a soldier on my way to Montreal. She pressed her chest against me about the time the jukebox broke. And she gave me a peck on the back of the neck, and these are the words she spoke. Blow up your TV, throw away your papers, move to the country, build you a home, went on like that.
Nice.
It was a good song. But I sang that. And
bold choice.
Yeah, I like it.
So the the guy from the band, he runs back and he tells Brendan's mom, "Hey, get up here, he's singing." And our nephew who was over there visiting came up. And
we do have some footage of this
Oh,
particular-
nice.
Yes.
But that's how hard it is. And I shouldn't have been surprised because a couple of days before, we'd gone into this fish place. It was just a restaurant. It was a fish place. Mm-hmm. You got fish and chips. It wasn't a pub. And I was telling the lady who was waiting on us, I said, "Man, I really want to hear some music. I even brought my guitar." And she said, "Oh, have you got it? Just come and give us a song, just in a restaurant."
Now, Mr. Kennedy, you're extremely intelligent. You know what open mic means, right?
Yeah.
They will literally let
Anybody.
our kids at 5 years old get up there and
But he wanted to
sing
get,
and dance.
His dream was to be good enough.
He wanted credentials. He
to
wanted
do
yeah.
the open mic. You know what I mean? Like he had a.
I wanted to be good at it, I didn't know. I mean, I'm very shy, basically. I mean, you're putting yourself out there.
Oh, that's
get up
you
there.
were you might as well strip down naked. I mean, that is literally like, especially with you playing the own guitar, and I'm assuming you had no backing. They didn't know that song. I'm assuming.
I don't think they did, but
Do now. You remember that night?
but these guys have talent.
Yeah.
The guy on keyboards. I was listening to the video, and after the first verse I did, the guy on keyboards, he figured out what key I was in,
Just
and he
moved in.
started playing along.
Some of the best musicians are those guys and girls out there that play in those pubs and back rooms all the
That's
time.
what you see in Ireland. Seriously,
people are
like
good.
all the time. They just come together. Like someone will start playing, someone will
Yeah.
sit down next to them and start playing something else. You'll see someone grab some spoons and just start playing the spoon
That's Kentucky.
because they. But it happens there too. It's crazy.
Hey, Ireland, don't take our shit. That's what we do.
People will play. My mom sent a video of one point where like there's a bunch of people sitting around and there was a lady in the back and she was playing the shit out of a book.
Nice.
She had the double-headed stick that they play the bar on with. She was playing a book.
She was just
Everybody,
rocking the book, and I was like, "That's what I'm talking about. They play what you got." She's got some Yates.
Just happened to have my playing book here with me tonight.
And I think everybody over there, they do two things when they're young. They try to learn some music, and they play these weird sports. And the sports.
Brendan educated us on one of them.
Well, I'm a hurling guy.
Yeah, hurling.
Gaelic hurling is my sport. That's the jam, right?
Well,
there.
we saw a lot about the Gaelic Athletic Association, which is the body that supervises hurling
and Gaelic football.
and Irish football and a couple other things, camogie for the ladies, and all the kids play this stuff. And, of course, hurling is something you do with a stick so you can whack each other.
Yeah.
And Irish football is so strange because it's soccer, except you can use your hands, which is to say, not soccer. But, so,
Just like soccer, except
just
for
like
the
soccer.
non-soccer
Yeah.
part.
except that
Yeah.
you can carry a few paces, you can pass, and you can drop kick a goal.
So a little
Okay.
rugby,
Yeah.
but without limitations. You can't.
And then
just,
they have a separate association that supervises rugby, which is big over there. And all these kids, everybody's into a sport.
But let's go
And-
back. Let's get back to your singing, performing. So you did a couple songs. Did you do other gigs, other nights at other bars?
I did
or-
another place.
Nice.
It's so easy. So this one guy was singing a song, and I knew that it was in alternate tuning, where you take your guitar and you tune the strings up and down a little bit. And then, so I said, "Hey, that was very good because that's alternate tuning." He says, "Okay, sit down, give us a song."
you can't compliment somebody over
No,
there.
cannot.
you
You
can't
cannot.
say, "Hey, nice." Over here, like you said, you can say, "Hey, nice work," and they say, "Thank you."
Yeah.
over there, they say, "Okay, sit."
Yeah.
I like the way you were kissing that girl over there.
Exactly.
You're a kisser? Come here. You can love this.
Is that an 87 Lambo? Oh, yeah. Throw me the keys.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, yeah.
I mean, you could have used this for everything. Be like, I noticed you were eating that steak. Looked great.
Yeah.
It was like
you
that.
eat?
I'm quite the steak guy myself.
You know, the only time I saw somebody really drunk over there, because they handle their liquor. They
No. We've been trained that the Irish are all drunks. That's
not true. I think the Brits are worse.
I know
And
the
Australians
Brits are worse.
are awful.
Please preach.
But the Irish, for one thing, they don't drive drunk. That you could never do that over there. And
Well,
for
correct me
another-
if I'm wrong. A lot of them, you have your neighborhood pub, and that's where you do your drinking at. You're not going four
no,
neighborhoods over.
you don't drive. This town had 2,000 people in 50 pubs,
Awesome.
which
That is amazing.
I couldn't believe,
Yeah.
but it was true. And Dingle is a tourist destination in the season. We were off season, but like every town in Ireland has a distillery. Like Dingle had this great gin and this great Irish whiskey that they made locally, and they had a brewery and they had beers. But everybody, sort of handles it, except for these rugby punks. We were in
Oh,
this.
yeah. I can see that.
That's a common denominator
Yeah.
with rugby
Yeah.
punks. Are
All
drunk.
versions of rugby.
Like I've never seen a rugby person, just working out a math equation.
No.
They're always shit-faced drinking out
Yep.
of a boot.
No, and
Fighting each other.
Yeah.
yeah, there was a rugby game in town. So we went to this pub about 7:00, and we were just drinking and listening to this band that came on early, which most of them don't. Having a nice time, and just about 9:00, all of a sudden, a couple of bouncers came in. You could tell they were
Yeah.
huge. I mean, the Irish, they seem to have like these little wiry guys,
Yeah,
and
that's-
then these huge guys. I didn't see much.
There's no in between.
I didn't see anything in between. So these big bouncers come in. So we said, "What's up?" And they said, "Oh, the rugby match let out."
So we better get some bouncers
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, so they knew these guys were coming in.
And if you're willing to sign up to fight the rugby players off, you must be pretty hardcore yourself.
You're a pretty big dude.
Yeah.
You're
These
like-
guys were big. They were big.
How did they treat you over there? Did they like them? Obviously, you're a likable guy, but like, are they fond of the Americans, or they probably get? I would assume tourist season probably gets to be a little much.
It might, but it's an interesting point. I mean, they were very friendly. I mean, really friendly.
Yeah.
If you wanted directions or if you wanted to hear their life story, they were right there. And one thing we discovered is that most of them have been to the U.S. Like this one woman we met in a pub, she said, "Oh yeah, she was part owner of the pub," and she said, "Oh, I spent 15 years as a nurse in New York."
Oh, wow.
You see that a lot. Or there was a couple next door to us. The guy was a fisherman, and he said, "Oh, we're going to Montana next year."
Interesting.
I mean, so many of them have been to the States.
Yeah.
That's because most of their family came here in the 1840s. It's like,
Sure.
I mean,
A
that's
lot of them have family over there. We were in this museum about, it was a museum for the Blasket Islands, which were way offshore and were evacuated about 53 because nobody could make a living anymore, like the Aran Islands.
Yeah, but I've never even heard of the Blasket. The Aran Island still has the sweaters, and they still have people who go out there, and it's kind of like a little.
Nothing left of the Blaskets.
I've never even heard of them. So
But they had a postcard. They had this display case of postcards that people sent from the U.S. when they fled the Blaskets, and went to America. And one of them said, "Tell all the Kennedys," this was from New York, it said, "Tell all the Kennedys we're here and we're taking over this town."
Damn right. You can respect that.
I respect that.
Yeah, I would think a lot of, if you're going to travel from Ireland, like the East Coast, New York, D.C., maybe some of the southern states. But, we live so close to D.C. and New York, like we kind of take that kind of stuff for granted. But, it's like we used to vacation. We'd do one-nighters out in Williamsburg, and then people from all over the country come to Williamsburg. You just forget, oh, yeah, same with D.C. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. But Dingle, Ireland, like that's a place that like you don't hear that name thrown around.
No, you don't.
And the fact that they have a tourist season is kind of eye-opening to how popular Ireland on the whole has become
And it's
for
not
tourists.
spoiled. I mean, you can drive all around the Dingle Peninsula, and it's just like coastline and sheep, and a lot of sheep.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of pictures, and it's like some of them were intentionally pictures of sheep, and other ones it just looks like sheep are photobombing the photos because they're just
in the middle of the
everywhere.
roads. You drive down the road, and okay, we got to slow down. There's some sheep here.
So is it? But they have they don't have like the beaches like we have here. It's like
They don't have the waves like we have.
they have the big cliffs, rocky.
Not
beaches.
everywhere.
There are some huge sand beaches. Like you wouldn't believe. Huge beaches that are all sand. But at the time of year we were there, there was these huge winds blowing.
Yeah,
But, very impressive.
I'd love to get over there.
Huge beaches. I know. I mean, when you're out there on the Dingle Peninsula, especially in the off season, it's remote.
Did y'all travel around the rest of the country, or did you just stick out your way mostly?
We went over to Cork, which is fun.
Brendan owns property over there.
I do, technically speaking.
Yeah.
Oh, you own property in Cork?
Yeah, I'm a lord. Yeah. We got a little piece of land in Cork. Troy was there. Troy hooked me up with it.
Well, excellent.
Yes.
Yeah, well, Cork is like the big city in that part of the country. But we flew into Dublin. Dublin's a big international city.
Screw Dublin. Dublin is
Dublin. Like we had a waiter in the restaurant in our hotel. He was from Mexico.
yeah.
Get
I
the
was-
full Irish experience.
I went to Dublin and I remember
But
like,
he
everyone I met was like, "I'm from Rome. I'm from the Czech Republic.
Yeah,
I'm like, I was
from
like,
Poland.
Where the hell are the Irish people?" And
Yeah.
they're like,
Yeah.
"Well, they're not in Dublin."
Not
We
in
don't work
Dublin.
We don't do these
But you
jobs.
get out of Dublin. We rode a train west, and we get off the train in Tralee.
Yes, which is what I actually wanted to name my first daughter, and I couldn't get it over the finish line.
Yeah, that's a hard sell.
It is because it's a weird word, but Tralee is like in Ireland. They've always done this thing that's called the Rose of Tralee, and the Rose of Tralee is like an old school beauty pageant from way back in the day. But they swear it wasn't about beauty.
Well, it's true. I mean, recent years, the Rose of Tralee. I mean, they have
See, I'm going to get the real scoop right here.
Yeah.
Oh,
they
back
have
me up.
elected women who were accomplished in various ways. Like a recent Rose of Tralee was a biochemist. She was also extremely cute.
Okay, so that helped.
Really good.
You
good look.
literally back in the day, you had to be doing the most for the community, like what you could do for Tralee.
It wasn't just the looks.
No, but the looks help,
Yeah.
right?
Looks are good.
But you have to be the smartest. You have to be the best. So it's all the things we pretend
Yeah,
that like Miss USA is and Miss Universe. But,
Yeah.
but it's not because you can get up there and. You can hula hoop, and we're like, I mean, so talented. That's amazing. Whereas over there, you really have to be very accomplished. And so the Rose of Tralee was something that I always held in like really high esteem in my mind. I was like, the Rose of Tralee, like that's the
Yeah.
most perfect woman that you can be. So I tried to name my first daughter Tralee.
Rose.
No, it never even occurred to me to go Rose.
Well, it's kind of a stretch, but
But it
yeah,
is. It was a
I
difficult.
get the idea.
And I was just like, well, maybe we could pronounce it differently. And my wife's looking at this. She's like, how?
Yeah.
It's Tralee or Tralee. Like, those are your options. And
Tralee.
like- but I thought it was a cool name.
It'd be a lifetime of the poor girl
explaining what the
correcting,
fuck
yeah.
a Rose of
Explaining
Tralee is.
what it meant. Just like your sister who has to explain that she's named after a Navy destroyer.
Yeah, quite literally.
That's a tough one.
What's
Yeah.
her name?
Cassin.
Cassin.
That was a destroyer, World War II.
Yeah. There's also a
that what you
secondary
call her?
story. No.
Cassie.
Yeah. Okay, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Cassie.
But it is Cassin. And
Yeah, it sure is.
and there's a side story to that name too. I believe.
Which is?
Well, wasn't there a news reporter?
There
Also
was.
by the name-
Cassin Mackin. I thought she was pretty cute. I have to admit.
And my dad says it's about this destroyer, but there was also a news reporter at that time
It was cute.
who was super cute.
Yeah.
Who also his name
cute.
was Cassin.
What a
Which-
coincidence.
It's just one of those funny things, like my youngest daughter, while she has a great name, it did also happen to be my favorite pub in college. The
Yeah.
name of that pub. So maybe it had something to do with it. Maybe it didn't. Maybe it didn't.
Maybe.
But I liked it.
One thing about Ireland that was like omnipresent, besides the sheep,
Which are omnipresent.
And the stone walls, which are everywhere, were these tractors. They all, over here we use pickup trucks as a versatile way to haul things. Over there they had these huge tractors, with the wheels taller than a man, these huge things. And everybody was driving these things. And if they had to haul something, they'd hitch a trailer on one of these tractors, and they would haul sheep. A lot of sheep.
Things we mentioned earlier.
And dirt, and the one guy who lived
down the
near
road,
us,
right? Like
and the one guy near us was Tom Hannafin, and he had the septic service. So he pulled these trailers full of sewage back and forth, up and down. But these tractors, they go out on the road. You'd have to respect the tractors. But I don't know. I mean, there was a lot of farming. There was a great deal of farming, sheep farming, cattle, God knows what. Although in this part of Ireland, on the Dingle Peninsula, you couldn't grow a lot of crops, so you mostly grazed animals.
Okay.
Other parts of Ireland, you grew the potatoes and you grew produce of all kinds. But this wasn't the place. But these tractors were everywhere.
Would you see tractors pulled up to the pub? Would people drive them there?
Yeah, they would. Yeah.
Nice.
So this is tractors.
Yeah, huge. I mean, these were monster things.
So it was really rural.
It was.
There was no, you were not in a city of any sort.
Well, Dingle was like 2,000 people, but they had 2 restaurants that were in the Michelin Guide.
How's that possible that you're on a little peninsula?
They had great restaurants. That's the weird thing.
But the Irish don't have good food. They boil stuff.
They never used to. Their food sucked.
I'm sure if you go to that restaurant, the owner is probably from somewhere else.
Maybe.
Or trained somewhere else. Like I spent time in Italy, and now I'm back here in my homeland cooking Italian food.
How far back would I have to go in history for Ireland to be considered a third world country?
Oh, when we were there in 1985, it was very poor. And you wouldn't see many cars on the roads at all. And you'd see guys on bicycles going from pub to pub, but it was poor then. And I remember we went into a bike shop because we wanted to get your brother a jersey, Sean Kelly, the Irish
yes, jersey. Love it.
And they said, we don't carry jerseys. If you're on a team, you might be issued a jersey, but nobody has the money to buy a thing like that.
So in my mind, it was like the 70s, because Ireland really was a third world country.
After they joined the EU,
that's when they started.
They got a lot of money,
and it was only until recently that they started becoming a real big tax haven for tech companies. That they started to get like massive influx of money, in addition to, tourism. But that's when they really started to come up, and so you hear things like, "Oh, you drink Guinness warm." That has nothing to do with the fact that Guinness was meant to be drank warm. It was a third world country. Like
refrigeration was a luxury.
Yeah,
didn't have refrigeration.
In the last 50 years, 60 years, I mean, it truly was a third world country. And people don't realize that. I mean, it's like different world. They've grown leaps and bounds.
We never did come to a resolution about your 90-day versus become a citizen. So
I've been trying to get the answer out of them. Now there's a mic. I feel like maybe we could.
Well, there ought to be some middle ground, but they were very strict about it. So if you're here as a tourist and you don't have a job, and
so basically, if you are here and you want to just spend all of your money here, they're like, no, we can't allow.
Absolutely
for that.
not.
Well, there's another program which is Retire in Ireland. So if you can prove you have a steady income, like Social Security.
Yeah. Well, obviously, if you want to stay 6 months in Ireland, you must have a steady income coming in.
No, you must. Well, they don't want you to go on welfare or anything.
Yeah. Which I understand.
But you can have this Retire in Ireland thing where you don't have to be a citizen, and they'll let you stay as long as you want.
But you don't get to take advantage of any kind of like do they have like socialized health care?
They do.
There? Yeah, so you don't get to tap into that.
Well, you're supposed to, if you're on Medicare, you're supposed to.
You can use it there?
Yeah, you can go to the hospital. And
So what was the disadvantage of proving you were a citizen? Would you have to renounce American citizenship? Or?
not really. People don't have to do that anymore. It used to be a requirement. If
You can be a dual citizen, right?
You can be a dual citizen. But I don't know. That just sounded a little out there to me, the whole
Yeah.
idea.
So you're just too damn patriotic
Yeah.
to carry another card.
I'm too patriotic. Yeah. I'm an American.
What if you left?
can respect
What
that.
if you left Ireland and went to England for a week and then came back? Does that reset the
I
90
looked into
days?
that. I actually hired an immigration lawyer for €200, and they told me, no, you have to leave the country for 90 days. Then you can come back for 90 days. So
So how's the retire? So the retirement thing though does not require any kind of citizenship. You just have to prove you have steady income.
steady income, and they give you a visa. You're retired here in Ireland, but you're not going to be, you're not going to be on welfare or anything. You have Social Security, whatever. So you can do that.
That seems like kind of a badass option. Like I might have to seriously start considering at some point maybe I should just retire in Ireland.
Well,
Think
you'd
you're-
love
you think you're gonna
Dingle.
retire?
Oh, I desperately want to retire. I'm not as close to retirement as you are. You're as close to retirement as my dad is. I mean, this son of a bitch played his cards right. He's in a good spot.
Is that right?
Yeah. He's closer to retirement than I am. He's lived a very good life.
Frugal.
He's played his cards. He could retire in what, 5 years?
7.
7
Wow.
years.
Well, good for you.
He could actually
That's great.
do it. Now, I will retire when I don't have a body worthy of doing anything with retirement. Unfortunately, dude, is it time for a deli? Did
It
we
is
just
time
vote-
for a deli.
Oh snap! It's time for us to try a beer. We got to taste a beer.
Oh, all right.
So I gotta say summer beer.
If I gotta.
Summery beer.
Twist my arm, right?
Now I'm hoping this is a good beer. This is a limited time release. It's the Sierra Nevada Summerfest. Woo! Memorial Day weekend.
Oh,
Give this a try.
okay.
And I figured you probably don't need any more Irish beer.
No, I've had enough for now.
So we'll go ahead and get this going. I'm going to give a little sampler here. This one or this one? Giving you options. You want a fully or a slightly poured off?
No. Well, I'll take either one. I don't care. I mean,
It's your call. Here, pick your poison.
that one.
That one.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so this is the Sierra Nevada Summerfest Refreshing Summer Lager. What, did you just get a Be Real pop
Be
up?
real.
It just popped up right now?
Yep.
All right.
While we're doing this? Oh, man.
Got to get your dad in to be real.
I'm getting him right here. Boom.
It's from Chico, California.
There you go.
Here's to Chico.
There you go.
The
I
Chico.
just got my Be Real out, Dad. You didn't get your Be Real out. It just happened in real time.
Okay. Great.
Don't act like he's on Be Real.
Oh, yeah.
I am.
All right. Sierra Nevada Summerfest. This is a refreshing summer lager. Sierra Nevada being like the original craft brewery outside of maybe the Anchor Steam. Both California. Let's see what this thing tastes like.
Here we go.
Well, I don't know exactly what they're trying to do there. That's kind of a basic bitch beer.
Nothing wrong with it, but nothing exciting.
Yeah, I think that's kind
Wouldn't
of
you say?
That's the conclusion I came to real quick. I'm hoping that the third sip, so the first sip was neither overwhelming or underwhelming. I would expect out of Sierra Nevada to have a little more something going on.
It's a little tart on the back end.
Is there something going on there that's trying to be a little tart?
To me, I mean,
At the back end, but it's pretty feeble.
There you go. Okay, I see what you're saying, though. Maybe like a hint of something like a blueberry had sex with a lemon.
yeah, yes. That's actually pretty good.
I mean, I don't know how else to describe whatever
Yeah.
that flavor on the back end is. You know, some poor blueberry, some big old lemon rolled up on
Yep,
it.
just didn't see coming.
No.
Refreshing summer lager.
I don't think they give us any more info
No,
there.
I think I'll pull the box out, see what that says.
There's a government warning on it.
Oh, good. And it says family owned, operated, and argued over.
Yep, that's about all we've got.
I'll say that.
It's a
It says
5%.
There's something about a warm summer day that calls out for a cold glass of great beer, and this classic summer lager is sure to fit the bill. Crisp, golden, and refreshing, Summerfest is the perfect choice for soaking up the sunshine.
Wow,
That tells
marketing.
you absolutely nothing.
And I noticed they say that this is brewed in Chico, California, and Mills River, North Carolina. I just noticed that.
Oh, yeah, because...
I get those places mixed up.
Well, so Sierra Nevada opened up a gorgeous brewery just outside of Asheville. And it is a sight to behold. I will give them that. It is a fantastic brewery to go visit. In fact, you guys were talking about maybe making a trek to North Carolina potentially this weekend.
To Boone. Uh-huh.
And so I don't know how far Boone is from Asheville.
It's close.
So the Sierra Nevada brewery is a really nice place to kind of just piss away a couple hours.
Don't you kind of assume, and you know, a lot of breweries do this, but like Sierra Nevada, you think should be brewed in the Sierra Nevadas, you know, and Coors should be brewed in
In the Rockies.
the
Colorado.
Rockies, like, but they're popping up all these other breweries, and it's like you're not using the water that's coming off these mountains like you're talking about.
No.
No. I heard a rumor, and this could be like a wives' tale, and so I don't know how true this is, that when Coors started brewing some stuff here in Virginia, they actually bought a huge plot of land and legally changed the name to Rocky Mountain so they could continue to
Really?
say.
Never heard that.
That sounds like something some law dog would figure out and be like, "Here's how we get around this."
Yeah. But they only would do, I feel like they still only do Coors Banquet in Colorado, so they can really say it only uses the Colorado River, whereas they can still now say Coors Light is also in the Rockies.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's a wives' tale.
Yeah.
That seems like one of those stories that some drunk ass told
Then
me.
again, that could, I mean, there's a lot of beer that's named after a lot of different things that has nothing to do with that. So what am I talking about, really?
The more I drink this beer, the more I'm starting to appreciate it.
It's not
getting
bad
better.
at all.
It's getting better.
Not bad at all. You know, beer in America used to be so bland. Now, I'm going back to the early 70s here. And, you know, a good beer was Budweiser or maybe Michelob.
Yeah, because everyone was drinking Schlitz and Schaefer.
So when I was stationed in the service in eastern Washington State, we were close to the Idaho border. And some of the guys would
That was
drive.
a third world country.
I was gonna say that sounds like a bad
Some of the
draw.
guys-
Like when you get Eastern Washington.
No,
you're
it's
probably-
not bad at all. But some of the guys would drive over. I think they had to go to Idaho, and they could get Coors.
Oh, yeah.
And this was like
It was a big deal,
the
right?
best thing ever. So you know, on Friday night we'd open the fridge in the office on the base, and we'd get out the Coors because it actually had a little malty taste.
Had a
to
little
it.
flavor.
Had a little flavor. And wow, this was the greatest thing ever. But you had to go over the state line to get it.
That's what makes it special, though. I remember when Fat Tire I could only get on the West Coast. I was like, Fat Tire's the greatest beer I ever had in my life. Then it got here, and I was like, Fat Tire's good. You know, it's like it kind of does change it a little bit.
Fat Tire's fine.
But Coors Banquet beer for me, this is going to sound odd, but in a hot tub,
In a hot tub.
I like Coors Banquet beer. It's a weird flex. I get that, but I do like it. So this beer is taking on a whole different. Like I'm at a crossroads here.
It's jumped up a half point in my scale.
Unfortunately, that half point is a critical half point
It's
in my
doing
universe.
it's doing
Yeah.
better. It's doing better.
It is refreshing as you get into it.
No, I'm starting to really like it. This is a basic bitch beer.
Yeah.
Doesn't do anything right. It doesn't do anything wrong.
Nothing to write home about.
But there is something about it that is really starting to hit home. And I really think it is like that blueberry had sex with a lemon and the kid really didn't take on very many traits of either of them.
Yeah.
And it's like the weakest of both, but it's kind of good. Mm-hmm. On a scale of 1 to 5, anything being over 3.5 is a deli.
Yep.
I may find myself drinking this beer in the summer, and I'm gonna put a number out there that's higher than it should be, because I'm
Interesting.
really starting to like the flavors behind
You're
it.
in a good mood.
I'm going to go 4.
Ooh.
That was a bold move, and I'm pushing it in the direct. Now, this is a basic bitch beer. I don't want anyone to get it twisted, because I'm not saying that it does anything exceptionally well. This is an American beer. It's not a hoppy beer. It's not a malty beer.
But you might drive over a border and pick it up.
Might drive over.
That's a callback.
Might drive over a dog if I drink enough of these. These are 5%. It's a good number, but it's like really kind of refreshing. It does leave a little of that American lager bullshit flavor in your mouth, but I like that little bit of refreshingness, and it's not overly effervescent. Oftentimes, if you can't get to refreshing, you just bump up the bubbles and go, it's refreshing because it's effervescent.
Yeah.
They didn't do that here. And I kind of like what they've done. I shouldn't like it as much as I do. I'm putting that caveat out there so that people don't race out and go, Brendan said it was the best. But I do think I'm going to give it a 4.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, upon first sip,
Trash.
not my favorite.
This plays in the Coors banquet beer Budweiser world.
Yeah.
But it's good.
But it got better with each sip, and I had 5 or 6 sips of it, and I had it at a 3 when I started, because it wasn't bad when it started, but I was like,
It
all
got
right.
better.
But it got better, and I got to a 3.5. That's
Okay.
where I got to.
That's where I am. 3.5.
Okay, so we got 2 3.5s and a 4, but my 4 is going to pull it up over 3.5. The fact that they were both 3.5s, that is a deli.
That's a deli winner right there.
Ring that bell.
Nice.
I can't believe that.
That
'Cause
came out of nowhere.
That's a basic bitch beer.
Yes, totally.
That is seriously like, if I had a Coors Banquet and this, I'd go, well, actually, I kind of like this one better.
Yeah.
The Sierra Nevada Summerfest. I wouldn't go rushing out to get it, but at the same time,
If you come across
I
it,
wouldn't walk past it.
yeah.
I'm going to keep that kind of around
If
during
you're
the summer.
looking for a good tasting beer,
But it's not going to be, summer beers are always, they're full of lemon.
Yeah.
They're full of some other bullshit. They just made a basic bitch beer that somehow took on a whiff of some of those other things that people try to do, but they didn't doctor it up to make it happen.
well, it's nice to see too, like not a super juicy, hazy IPA or,
None of
crazy malt, like it's a good straight across the board, good beer.
Basic bitch lager.
Yep.
I like it.
I like it too. We all liked it.
We all like it. It's a 3.5 because there are a lot of great beers in this world, and we don't want to go crazy.
No.
No, it took a lot out of me to give it the 4. And if I could go 3.75, I would have.
Yep.
But we're not allowed to do fractionals
But
outside
even
of
if you went
half
back to 3.5, that's still a deli winner.
if we wanted to go over. And so I was going to, I kind of pushed the envelope intentionally a little because I wanted it. I liked it. As Jay would say, I'm here for it.
You're here for it. And I'm happy that you're here for it because I did think it deserved it.
I'm glad it made it. My dad was the wild card. I didn't know where he was going to go with this
He liked it.
because he's been drinking Guinness.
Well, and he's been drinking beer for a minute.
Well,
Yeah.
Guinness is a whole other thing.
Well, Guinness is all 3 of us in this room. That's the perfect beer. So I hold everything to a Guinness.
Absolutely. I mean, Guinness isn't. It's barely beer.
Yeah.
It's like life itself.
It is.
It's a meal.
Yeah.
It's its own thing.
Yeah, if I can only have 4 beers, let them
4 beers.
Yeah, sometimes you can only have 4. Make it a Guinness.
Make it a Guinness.
Some people have a rule where they go, if I can only have 1 beer. And
Yeah.
I'd still have it be a Guinness at that point.
It's just the perfect beer.
But past 4, maybe I want something else.
Yeah.
You guys would have loved these pubs in Dingle.
I believe it.
These were serious pubs, and there were so many of them. And Kennedy's
Kennedy's was a good one?
was a great pub. Yeah.
Damn right they were. Hey, what is the whiskey of choice over there? Like, do you see people drinking a specific whiskey over another? Because over here in America, Jameson is synonymous with Irish whiskey, and that's what everybody drinks. And I personally don't think it's that great of an Irish whiskey. Is there something that you saw more often than not when people ordered whiskey?
Well, as far as the generic whiskey that they drink all over, I think Bushmills and Redbreast.
Now, Redbreast is expensive over here.
Redbreast is expensive there too.
Never even heard of it.
And so if you want a great Irish whiskey here or over there, Redbreast is expensive but really good. And if you don't want to go that far, you drink Bushmills.
So Bushmills was the go-to.
Yeah, it was sort of the go-to, but
that's good to know.
it's like every area of Ireland had their own Irish whiskey.
I was going to say, you'd mentioned there was distilleries at almost every town, so I would assume they're probably
There was a distillery in Dingle.
they're
they
probably
had
loyal to their own.
I can see that.
They are, and they had a Dingle single malt that was delicious, just amazing Irish whiskey.
But you didn't bring any of that back.
We were so tired of carrying crap around by that point.
I believe it.
We had to send 2 boxes of stuff back by mail because we couldn't carry it. Just all kinds of crap we picked up over.
Knickknacks.
Was it just called Dingle Distillery?
Yeah, it was pretty much the Dingle Distillery.
So if I look up Dingle Irish whiskey, I should be able to find that and then find some kind of way to.
Yes, and I don't know where you could buy that over here because
There's always a way.
these were all local places.
Yeah, but you can. I have a buddy who trades with people overseas.
Yeah, I'm saying there's always a way. Oftentimes you pay quite the premium, so you may as well buy a lot because the difficult part is getting it shipped and then through the tariffs, but someone has to send it to you. It's a whole thing.
How'd you find your house to rent, Mr. Kennedy? Are there a lot of rental properties?
Oh,
over
we
there?
don't. We're not renting right now. We have friends from
No,
Chicago.
I'm talking about in Ireland.
Oh, Airbnb.
Airbnb.
Yeah, Airbnb. And there was this fellow who had a place. He called it the Dingle Sands, and it looked nice online, and it worked out very well, actually, because we had a lot of room. We had a lot of extra bedrooms. So we had like 3 installments of people
Oh, nice.
coming over to visit us there.
I find that after you have a bad case of food poisoning, when it's finally done, that's when you start to get the Dingle Sands.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of out of stuff, and so you
Dingle Sands.
Yeah, and you're just finding those little Dingle Sands.
You know, it was a nice house. And
Do they have any strawberry farms over there? Because, then you can sell your dingleberries.
Boom.
they do have strawberry fields. There's an Irish song about the strawberry fields that go down to the Liffey River in Dublin. They have strawberry fields.
So you see that?
So is it-
now you know.
so
It was
is it-
before.
But
the Beatles.
one of the most intense things we did in Ireland was lambing season. So we met a friend. We were at the St. Patrick's Day parade, the highlight of which was...
Hold on. Can we? We'll get to that. But can we go back? Because there is a rumor here in the U.S. that St. Patrick's is not celebrated in Ireland. You hear this all the time. That this is an American thing. We've made it up. So are you telling me there is St. Patrick's Day in Ireland?
There is. It's
March
not,
17th?
It's not. Yes, it's not what we do here, but they do have parades and they do have a St. Patrick's Day.
You mean dummies don't get
Celebration.
really drunk and put beads and green shirts that say "Kiss Me, I'm Irish" on?
No, there was an American woman walking around at the parade who had a sweatshirt that said "Fit Chased." Fit chased, but
Fit
chased. However,
I got it. Took Brendan a second.
I did. I was like, is it Gaelic?
Here's what it is: that they have a parade, and it's a local thing, and all the local people, like the children's choir and all these people, they march in a little parade. And Tom Hannafin brought one of his tractors and pulled a sewage truck,
as you do on
which
St.
had
Patrick's
Irish
Day.
flags all over it.
Nice.
But I met this woman, a middle-aged woman, because I liked her camera. So I said, "Hi, how are you?" And it turns out she's a woman visiting from Boulder, Colorado. I think she was taking a vacation from her life, if you know what I mean. But
Hello.
she had rented a little place in a farm, a sheep farm up north. And this was crazy. We went up there to say hi, to visit her, and it was lambing season.
Okay, so perfect. Full circle. You got back to the lambing season. I didn't even have to segue.
So there was this one guy. I have great pictures of him. This one middle-aged farmer, Brendan.
He sounds
like
handsome.
an asshole.
You saw this different ways. We saw this different ways.
That's a bad sign, but he was okay.
Okay, well, my dad sees it your way. Okay.
Well,
That's fine.
This was a good Brendan. He was a good Brendan.
yeah. If I've heard of those.
It was lambing season. So this guy, so this guy had like 300 sheep, and he had his sisters and brothers. They'd all abandoned him for lambing season. He had to do it all alone. So this woman from Boulder, Colorado, who was renting this little set of rooms from him, she put on her Wellington boots and she jumped in and she helped him.
Good for her.
And it was crazy because
I'm still waiting to find out what lambing is.
lambing is when the sheep.
They don't call him McGregor the Great Bolt Builder.
Okay, come on. So
I love that he knows the joke.
I know the joke, but this is when the lambs are born.
Okay.
So the 300 sheep he had, the females, they're all
pregnant at the same time?
all giving birth more or less the same time.
Wow.
So it was
And
like
they
a couple week window where
And they would
That
give
farmer
birth.
was busy.
And they would give birth more or less the same time. So this is not a nice story, all of it. They would these sheep were all over the place. He had this farm, and there was like a almost vertical hillside where there were these sheep, posted all over the place, and they were giving birth to lambs. And poor Brendan, this poor guy, was running all over the place trying to be there when these lambs were born, because it was a very a dangerous time for them when they were first born. For one thing, you might want to edit this out. For one thing,
what?
crows would circle around, and when a lamb was born, they would peck its eyes out.
Because that's like the tastiest thing, and they can't defend
and the
themselves?
easiest things.
And some of the lambs, because it was a very moist area, some of the lambs came out and they fell into a puddle and drowned. I mean, it was a lot of attrition.
Oh my God!
I know.
Hey, I mean, that's how birthing was here in the United States is
people
100 years ago.
Yeah.
For people. So poor Brendan was running all over the place, and every time a lamb was born, he tried to be there. But the lady from Boulder, Colorado, he sort of posted her, when a lamb came out, he would say, okay, watch that lamb. I have to go find another one. And most of them, over 90% survived. I don't want to overstate the attrition rate, but there were some sad scenes. I have a couple of photos of him carrying a dead lamb, which is not what the tourists see when they see lambing season.
I assume lambing
that's real
season was
life.
shearing. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I just
no,
assumed...
it's when the lambs are
I thought
born.
lambing meant something.
It's when
like,
the lambs
I
are
wasn't
born.
thinking lambs. I thought it was some Gaelic term that was.
Yeah, we were all thinking different things. But I
when
didn't
the lambs are born.
I didn't think that 300 lambs dropped out babies in the same 48-hour period.
Yeah.
It's pretty much that.
The crows are coming down and just feasting on the eyeballs.
like birds.
And the puddles are just taking
and don't forget
souls.
the foxes. The foxes would come in and just eat them. So
Which, according in old times, the fox referred to it as foxing season.
that's what the foxes call it.
Yeah,
These are the good times.
They're like this Thanksgiving.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're like, this is
So
where
this
we're
poor
not
guy
starving to
Brendan,
death.
and when we were sitting around with Catherine, was her name, from Boulder, very nice lady, and Brendan came stumbling in. He was so exhausted, and he just wanted some tea, not whiskey. Just give me a cup of tea.
No, he's got to. Oh, that's brutal. He's just got to get rid of all the despair. He just wants some warm tea just to get his soul back straight.
Yeah, I
Gotta
know.
go to bed knowing he has a couple blind lambs.
I mean, what could be sadder than watching lambs die?
I don't know, something cuter.
I don't know.
I don't know what's cuter than a
Baby
lamb.
lamb is kind of
Nothing's
cute.
cuter than a lamb. They were adorable.
So what if the crow takes the eyes? Then you just
Then you got a blind lamb.
no, but you could just slaughter that one and
Maybe.
lamb.
Oh, sure. I mean, somebody will eat it in a restaurant in town.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the circle of life.
Yeah,
right?
but you don't have to kill it.
Well, you would just want a bunch of blind lambs?
Not
I mean,
a
I
bunch,
guess
but a baker's dozen is all right.
That'd be a nice pet, a blind lamb.
I mean, one eye, right? Now they don't have depth perception. They're going to have a hard time on the cliffs.
Pirate lamb.
But, yeah. Arr!
You know, all the lambs, when you went to the store in town, they had this these spray cans of dye, and the lambs were all had blue dye, red dye, and they might have a number 2. That means that the sheep was carrying 2 babies.
Oh.
So you know that. And they would actually have an ultrasound machine. The farmer had an ultrasound machine, and he could ultrasound the sheep to see how many babies they were carrying. So, and depending on how many babies they were carrying was how much he would feed the sheep. If the sheep had
you
2
don't
or
want to
3.
overfeed.
I thought it was
If they
just
got
'cause
one.
the Irish love to count their lambs before they hatch.
Oh,
Kind of thing.
yeah.
You know
Well,
what I
they
mean?
do.
They're like
They
looking
do.
at
you
the
know,
prophet.
they
They're
say
like,
don't do that.
But all the
That's
lambs are
what they say.
walking around. All the lambs are walking around. There might be a color that tells you who owns the sheep, and then there'd be a number that tells you how many lambs are inside the sheep.
this is big business.
Lot of information. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is big business.
Well, think every time one dies too, that's profit out the door.
But that's kind of what
Yeah.
I was thinking. Like he's running around because he's got 300, and in a good year he could have 600 next.
Yeah.
But then you got to fight this war of attrition.
Well, he was having some issues with his brothers and sisters, and they weren't getting along. And so for some reason, he was all alone on the farm. So this friend we made from Colorado, holy mackerel, she became a sheep farmer in a hurry.
I bet she was ready to get back to her life.
Yeah, well, she's still there.
Oh, she's still there. Mm-hmm. Dang.
Yeah.
Kind of like her attitude.
Oh, she was a hardworking woman. I mean, she thought she was just going to have a nice Irish vacation on this farm. And the next thing she knew, she was, giving.
She'll work that story into everything for the rest of her life.
Oh, yeah. It's like,
Back in that summer, it was winter when I was there.
Yeah.
When I became a professional lammer, you probably remember.
I know. Who wouldn't want to tell those stories?
Yeah.
I'm living off her stories right now.
Yeah.
yeah, vegan CrossFit lammer. She's officially, and studied abroad. She's officially got all the stories. Mm-hmm. So, Troy, you just handed me, I don't want to sidetrack, but you just handed me a non-alcoholic Corona.
Yeah.
And I'm interested about,
Doesn't smell like a Corona.
it smells like a popcorn. And it tastes,
Yeah. I haven't
So-
tasted it yet.
I don't think it's holding up its end of the bargain as a Corona.
Doesn't taste like Corona, but it doesn't taste bad.
No, I like it,
Yeah.
but I'm like,
Not a Corona.
I wanted it to have that, that piss Mexican
That
flavor.
skunky.
We're not doing a deli here. We just
No.
there's something Troy and I were talking about, that Corona has a new NA, and I thought, how perfect is that for summer? That I bet it's great with a lime in it,
Yeah. I think it needs a lime.
but it certainly does because it doesn't have enough Corona.
It doesn't have enough beer flavor in it either. It's really bland.
I tell you, the Corona Premier, the low calorie, low everything Corona tastes more like a Corona than the non-alcoholic does.
Yeah.
Which is odd.
Interesting. Anywho.
Sorry, little sidebar there.
Little sidebar.
sidebar there. Sometimes we like to talk about Mexican stuff. Sometimes we talk about Irish stuff. Definitely very, very worldly podcast.
That's what we do.
That is what we do, Troy.
Yeah.
We talk about all this stuff, and then we talk about people's musical dreams.
So Mr. Kenny,
Yes.
you're homeless or unhoused, I should say.
Well, I'm unhoused.
Let's not-
Well, we sold our house.
It's a nicer way to say it, Troy.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're unhoused.
What's your plan of attack moving forward?
Well, we're going to try to find a place to live.
Okay, you are.
Yeah, we're working on that right now.
Okay.
Looking
Bold move, Cotton.
Well, I didn't know you might want to travel around for another year and
we were
Airbnb
thinking,
for a
I
while.
do think about that. My dream would be to get an Airstream and travel the country. But I was talking to a guy who had an Airstream just the other day, and he said it's more work than you think.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I've had a camper.
It's a lot of work.
Now, if you're going to do what you're talking about, if you're going to set up shop for a month or two, that's not too much work. But if you want to
travel.
drive every day. I mean, that means you got to set it up and break it down every day. I mean, and that is work. It's
That is a lot of work.
It's not as simple as throw the truck in park and you're jump in the back and you're ready to rock.
No, it's a lot of work. So I suppose we will keep looking, but
you
we
get
might
to make these decisions independent of anyone else, right? Like you just do whatever you want. There's no one else
Well,
you have
we
to
might,
take considerations.
we could go to Montana and visit your sister.
I don't think that's a bad idea. I mean, Montana's awesome.
Yeah.
So I was alluding to the fact that he can't just make decisions in a vacuum.
No.
You know, there is my mom. He's got
Plays a part.
Yeah, clearly, and I think they have different views
Ideas.
on what would be an acceptable, course of living.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
married. I know how things work.
Yeah, my dad could shit in a compost toilet
Yeah.
and be quite happy.
Yeah, I don't care. As long as I have Wi-Fi, I don't care where I am.
Whereas
What I'm
my
living in.
mom would like, a very nice kitchen.
Yeah.
She likes to cook. You can't just make beef bourguignon in an Airstream.
No, that's legitimate. Her concerns are legitimate.
So after you're done traveling, are you going to move back to Nova, or are you going to look at a house down this way, or maybe Montana, or maybe the Villages in Florida? Who knows?
Ooh, don't tempt a man with the Villages. The Villages is. And we did a whole podcast on the Villages. If you want to hear all about the Villages, check out that podcast.
I will check that out. No, we're looking in Richmond right now.
Oh, nice.
We looked at some places today, actually, a little bit.
Yeah, I know. Brendan,
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Brendan was very helpful.
I don't see how. I mean, obviously you were there for quite a while, but Northern Virginia is it's a nightmare up there.
I wouldn't want to
It's
be
too much. We are not going to go back there.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
Yeah,
Coming down here,
that is the move.
We'd like to come down here. I think we hang out with this guy.
Yeah,
It's a good move. It's a good move.
It's a great move.
I like. I mean, look, I chose Richmond. I like Richmond.
Yeah.
I like it too.
Richmond's easy.
And by Richmond, you mean Greater Richmond, because you don't really need to even go downtown anymore. I mean,
You don't, but I just always liked Richmond. I like the people. I like the place. I like the vibe.
there's so many good cities across this country that are really cool, and towns that you never even heard of.
But that's the thing. How could you possibly know them all?
You wouldn't.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's the ones that you have a tie to that you can at least figure out and wrap your head around that you've seen enough of to
But
formulate an opinion.
everyone's so biased towards where they grew up or where they vacationed, and all the big ones pop out. But there's really a lot of cool towns and cities that are
It's so true
across
that you
the
say
country that,
'cause,
you never go to.
my dad and I were talking before the show, and I was like, I mean, the ultimate for me would be like have a summer place in Chicago, and he was like, "You've lost your mind."
Yeah.
He's like, and he's lived in Chicago, longer than I have.
13 years in Chicago.
And I was like, yeah, it sounds great. And he's like, no, absolutely not. But it's like my field of knowledge and field of vision is so small.
Yeah.
Despite living multiple places.
It's a great city. It really is.
But he was like, you're
I'm
crazy.
going to visit it this summer for the first time.
You're going to go to Wrigley?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Eat as much as you can. That town knows how to eat.
My kids are excited to when the little bit about food they know, they're excited. They're like, when we go to Chicago, we're doing deep dish pizza. When we go to Pennsylvania, they're like, we're going to do cheesesteaks. I was like, we're going to be in Pittsburgh, but they do have sandwiches that are popular out there too.
If you
so
go
when we go to these different states, they want to hit all the what's the cool food you got here.
When you go to Chicago, have them try the Italian beefs and then put it up against the cheesesteaks that you get. I want to see where they land. I do love Italian beef.
Well, since we're going to be in Pittsburgh, they do the Permanentes or whatever, where it's like the fries
they put
on
fries on the sandwich. But there's better sandwich. Well, like everywhere, right? I won't get into it. But I have found much better sandwiches than Permanente
Geno's
Brothers.
and
I just feel like Permanente Brothers was all right.
yeah,
Didn't blow me away. I got a spot. I'll fill you in some spots.
nice.
Yeah, I've done my time in Pittsburgh. I like Pittsburgh. That's a blue collar town.
It's a good town.
Yeah.
It really is
Yeah.
a good town.
It doesn't get enough respect.
Yeah,
Pittsburgh is actually really cool.
I'm excited because we're going to see a ball game there, and they have a beautiful stadium right there on the rivers.
I would argue that I'm never going to say it's better than Wrigley, but it's fucking pretty good.
Yeah.
Like I went and caught a game there. You know, I do a lot of traveling for work, and one of my favorite things to do is when it's the summer and I go somewhere, I get this like $50 per diem, right? Where I'm like, I can do whatever I want with the $50. And so I like hit a scalper, and I was just coming across the bridge, walking over the river, caught a scalper, and I got myself like the best damn seats for like $15, $20. It was like a no name game.
Yeah.
And then I went in there and just bought as much food as I could for the $50 and sat in my seat like, hell yeah. And I do that at stadiums everywhere I go if they have a game. Cause like what better way to piss away, you know, a few hours? Mm-hmm. Just go watch a baseball game. And I get to see all these stadiums. And I was blown away.
Yeah. I've only heard good things.
It was fantastic. In fact, I took a picture of it from where I was sitting. And it's when you go, you know, like when you go to Google and you see the photos and it puts like the highest ranking photos.
Yeah.
One of my photos is like the top 3.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, yeah, look at that. That's my pick.
That's pretty cool.
Google hits me up all the time. They're like, you're super popular. And I'm like, yeah, for a place that I went once. Like every other picture I've taken doesn't matter, but that one hit.
Well, I'm excited to hear that Mr. Kennedy is going to be in the area and we'll get to see more of him.
Yeah, I would like to do that. I mean, it's a hassle trying to find a house right now because the market's very tight for buyers, but, you know, we're working on it.
Yeah.
And we could rent a place down here for a while if we had to.
That was an interesting take he brought up today. He's like, why don't we just rent a place? Because basically, you know, they have the money from the other house. Like you put it in an account, collect interest, just kind of live on that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, you could rent.
And then when you're renting and your fridge goes bad or the roof starts leaking, it's like,
it's not your problem.
Hey, guy,
so I don't
send somebody over here.
I don't want to be responsible for that anymore. I used to do that, but
that's the worst part of home ownership, right?
Oh,
when the big ticket, the HVAC goes out, and you're like, "That's $10,000." Like I wasn't wasn't really saving for that, you know.
Yeah,
but if you could say, "Hey, I want to live in this part of town for a year,"
Yep.
and then you like live there for a year, and it turns out that you really like that part of town better.
Yeah.
You can just go to that part of town.
You can go.
That's a great idea.
Like I kind of like that. Now, granted, there is a lot of stress in that with moving and all that kind of stuff. But
I'm assuming they got rid of a lot of the stuff from the original house. Yeah.
Great deal of stuff. Yeah. We got rid of many things.
There's still a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have a couple of iPods. We have a pod. We have a big pod and a little tiny pod. But we got rid of so much stuff.
Yeah.
So, but I still have weird things like boxes of vinyl records, you know, things like that. But we've gotten rid of quite a bit. So I don't think it'd be a huge job to move into a rental place and
just don't collect a ton of stuff that first year.
Yeah, that's
you just pull out the main shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to. I don't need everything. I need my 3 guitars, my 4 amplifiers, and you know.
There you go.
That is a simple life. Like, that sounds fantastic.
He can start playing music on a regular basis in some local establishments. Get a little side business going.
Wish a motherfucker would.
Yeah.
That would be fantastic.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I think so.
You got enough stories to tell between your songs. You could burn up a lot of time.
Oh, I can tell a lot of jokes. You know. Yeah, sure.
This isn't a bad town to do that in either.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, we're talking. So Troy and I are going out to catch a band tomorrow night. We're going to go catch an act downtown, and this guy is like, if there's 2 kinds of music, country and western, this guy clearly falls into western. Like he is.
Okay, good.
He is a like western. So we're going to go downtown and catch a western band.
Very good.
And
Very
it's in it's in a backyard. Like basically this bar, they bought the bar, and then they bought a lot next to it, and they turned that into the backyard party and put a stage in the back. They call it the Get Tight Lounge. We're just going to go catch some music there. So there's stuff like that all over this town. You could be famous.
Yeah.
By Tuesday if you play your cards right.
Well, there are so many talented people. There really are. And there's not enough room at the top for them.
Exactly. But you don't have to be at the top.
I know. I wish that talented people could make more of a living doing what they do. But, yeah, I mean, there are a lot of people who are...
There's a lot that goes into it, not just talent, right?
Great musicians all over the place.
Mr. Kennedy could just say he's toured the world. He's played live music in Ireland.
International superstar.
Exactly.
I played the pubs. I played the pubs in Ireland.
Yes, internationally
You
known.
probably heard of me.
Yeah.
And I'm just coming home because I want to do all of you fine people a favor.
Exactly. You got too famous over there.
What a saint.
Want to come back. I'm coming back to my roots.
What a saint.
Cut my teeth, doing the international scene. But, it's about time I get back to my roots.
I'm big in Europe.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm big in Europe.
Yeah.
I'm big in Ireland.
They asked me to become a citizen. I had to tell them no.
I said, I'm an American.
Yeah,
I'm an American, and I want to entertain my people.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think there's honor in that. I respect that move. I really do.
Yep.
I'm glad you did that.
Yeah.
You thought of us little people.
That's right.
Yeah.
You left the big city of Dingle.
They say if you can make it in Dingle,
You can make it
Anywhere.
Oh, dude.
No, I think
It's the
life.
city that never sleeps.
I think life is about doing the right
city that
thing.
always sheeps.
It's about doing the right thing.
That's right.
That's what life's about.
That's right.
You don't have to go for the bright lights
No,
because
you had your chance.
you've got the people at home.
That's right. Your true fans.
They love you, and that's who you want to. That's who you want to entertain.
I respect that.
We've got it all planned out.
I feel like we've just hatched a hell
I
of a
feel like
plan.
we answered a lot of first world problems this episode.
The welcome home tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is great. No, I think these podcasts are very productive. A lot of things get settled in these podcasts.
I don't know if they're productive, but they're certainly cathartic
Yes.
for me. Like
They keep us sane.
they have, though. I mean,
Yeah.
we have proven that. Like over the years, we've seen some shit over the years, and like this is always that 2 hours where you just get to kind of be human.
That's right.
It's something. Should we do that?
I think so.
I'm doing that.
Okay.
All right.
I think it's time to go off mic.
Well, Dad, welcome home.
Thank
Yes,
you.
welcome.
Great to be here.
We are glad to have you back in the States. You were missed, not just by us, but by your adoring fans.
Oh, well, I feel for them, but I'm back.
There
Yes.
we go.
Yes.
There we go. So hopefully we'll be having you on here more often
Oh, that'd be great.
because we've been really just scraping the drags for a third mic.
I know. But
Greg's
I
been
know
cool.
I know our fans, Mr. Kenny's fans, will let us know how much they appreciate having him back on.
Oh, I know I'm going to hear about it.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to hear about it. I'm actually kind of excited about that. On account of the lack of feedback lately.
Yes.
Things have
Whole-
been quiet.
They really have.
Things have been quiet. Like
Venmo's been quiet.
That's not right.
Venmo's been quiet. Everything's been quiet. In fact,
Haven't gotten a review in a while.
I do want to throw something out as we're talking about Venmo. For starters, Troy, what is the Venmo?
Venmo at Inside the Pallet House if you are feeling generous.
Now, I do want to say, not you, Flores.
Yes.
Not you.
He's always generous.
Yeah, but you're cool. I want someone else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's always like there's a few people that come in and out, and then it's the randoms that I love.
Yes.
Because that's when you're like, yeah, that person thought about me. I respect that. So you can always hit us up on the Venmo. If you haven't had a chance to check us out on the socials, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter at ITPH Podcast. And of course, you can find us on Facebook. The easiest way to interact with us is on Gmail at insidethepallethouse@gmail.com. You can send us any topics you want us to talk about, and we will be glad to do so.
And we'll give you a shout out.
Absolutely. To Troy's point, though, the reviews are slacking. Where are the reviews?
I wish I knew.
Were you just checking real time to make sure we didn't miss somebody?
Well, I'm trying to, I was trying to check Venmo, but I haven't checked
I feel
it
like
in a while.
oftentimes Troy will go in here and he'll go, we haven't had any reviews in a while. And then he goes in and goes, oh, except for these two. And it has to
February 6th was our last review.
Bob Marley's birthday.
Yeah, you cut me off. I was getting ready to say that.
It's been a while. Been a while. Please do rate and review. And if you haven't had a chance at Cincinnati to swap somebody, please do. It's real easy. You just grab their phone, you sign them up for the podcast, hand the phone back to them, and say, you'll thank me later. I did it for my wife. She loves it. Never
And
listen.
January 20th was our last Venmo.
Ludicrous. Thank you guys so much for tuning in week week out. We'll be talking to you next week. Cheers.
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 Wait till you hear this. I don't know if he won't even get it.
That was a pretty good podcast, don't you think?